Welcome to my Pokemon Journeys episode 71 review. Let's go, Project Mew. So here we are, the start of what feels like Go's equivalent of World Championships, an ongoing story that can go on throughout the series. And much like Gary, he has to complete a trial first to be allowed entry into this project. I'm actually pretty glad that this isn't an arc in the sense that it'd only be a few episodes all at once, then leave Go with little to do. It feels like it will give Go's goal of capturing Mew a little bit more direction than it had before, as he was just catching Pokemon and hoping it would lead to Mew. So it begins with Go getting his email that it's time for his trial, and this one is going to be in the Sinnoh region on Mount Coronet, which I'm more than happy to see. And when they arrive, they see Gary, who teases Go by pretending to not know his name. I like that a lot. It's a little thing, but he's clearly trying to aggravate Go to get him to do his best to prove Gary wrong. Gary's good with names after all. He remembered Dawn's and Diamond and Pearl from what Professor Oka told him. This is absolutely just teasing. Something I also really love is just how supportive Ash is. After Go gets the email, Ash says he's going to be coming along, and while Go's a little surprised that Ash says that, of course he's going to help. It just shows how good their friendship is. And of course, Go is usually at Ash's World Championships matches anyway, so of course Ash will be along for Go's goal. And even after Go's upset by Gary's teasing, Ash is there to just say, oh, that's what Gary does. They get introduced to a man at a lab and help him carry some boxes. This is Hidaka, the leader of Project Mew. They just helped him carry documents relating to Mew, and he gets a woman, Asahi, to introduce him to a project. Something I really want to bring attention to is how much I love the Project Mew theme during this. It invokes such a huge sense of mystery. They basically have to be qualified to go on this expedition to a place called Table Mountain, and the trials help to weed out who is allowed to enter or not. And they have to earn enough tokens to become a chaser, with only 2 being selected at the moment, Asahi and a man called Tsurugi. And the fact that they're only selecting 3 more tells me that Go and Gary will definitely be in, and actually it's kind of a weird case since he's not really in a project and he's just more of just along with Go. Anyway, Go's mission is to head out to Mount Coronet and capture an Alolan Ninetales who's here. Of course it's very far from Mount Lalakila and Alola in general, but we found out later that this is because poachers were trying to take it and then they crashed and then it went back up the mountain. The boys head off and send out their Pokemon to help find it, and it's not really too long before Scizor encounters it. It's really great to see Scizor get little bits of focus like this, but unfortunately it doesn't really get to do much as it gets frozen by Ninetales. Go even asks Ash what's the best type to use against it, and despite Ash telling him that Steel is great, it just gets beat. But hey, you know, that's showing off that Ash is actually here to help. It's great, I like that. Ninetales is unexpectedly aggressive too, and it summons a storm which puts the boys and Pokemon at risk. They wake up in a cave where a man and his Weavile await. This is Tsurugi. He wants to disqualify them, as they'd have died without his assistance. After the storm passes, Go says he won't give up as he wants to get Ninetales home, and theorizes it wants to live somewhere like Mount Lanakila, and points to a peak that resembles it to Tsurugi, so he takes him along with them. They encounter it again, and Go ends up battling it with Cinderace, and before his attempt to capture it, a Regice just kind of shows up and freezes a Pokeball. Ash takes over the battle with Regice so Go can approach Ninetales. Go tries to approach it kindly, but it's still scared from its encounter with poachers. His words eventually reach it, and he captures it as it starts to trust him. Pikachu gets knocked back by Regice, so Tsurugi steps up. He sends out an Urshifu, and it lives up to its name as a single strike form as it punches Regice and everyone just kinda leaves, with Tsurugi saying he'll come back for Regice. Back at the lab, Asahi thanks the two for saving Ninetales and reveals they weren't actually on an official mission, so now Go is seen as an official challenger. And when Tsurugi asks if he'll be entering, Go says of course he will. Hidaka tells me he wants to study the mystery of where Pokemon came from, so Mew is key to that. So that's probably the biggest twist for me. This wasn't an actual trial mission, which makes it exciting to see what the first actual trial mission will be for Go. And frankly, I think this is just a really good start to Project Mew in general. There's some great build up to this as it tied in heavily to Gary's episode. The fact that Gary's trial focused on getting a feather from Moltres, while what looked like Go's was just catching a Ninetale, seemed very off. This explained the discrepancy between the two goals just fine. It feels very predictable that Gary and Go will both become chasers since we've got limited spaces, but I think that's good. I think keeping Project Mew small is the best idea, because in addition to Gary, the other chasers will be rivals to Go too, and it feels like that Tsurugi is someone Go will already have to prove himself to, and I'm sure we'll see more of Asahi. To be honest, Regice was a pretty big letdown for me. It really doesn't get a chance to do much as it knocks Pikachu back off screen and Tsurugi and Urshifu take it down pretty quickly. It's cool how they point out it'll be vital to study as part of the origin of Pokemon, but it really feels like it's just here for the sake of it. My favourite bit of the episode is definitely how Go proved himself worthy of staying on this little test. But cool that Ninetales would look for somewhere like Mount Lalakila, and successfully identifying a peak that resembles it is a good move. Tsurugi assumed that Go just wouldn't have any leads to keep on following Ninetales even if he wanted to, so showing off his analytical mind to Tsurugi is a good way to not get him kicked off this expedition. And the Ninetales catch is sort of a standard, but it works for what it was. And really, this episode just stands on its own excellently, but does such a fantastic job of making me excited for the future. Asahi's scene where she introduces them to Project Mew and the Table Mountain expedition in particular is just so interesting, and it makes me very eager to get to that after Go earns his right to make it. So this is a wonderful start to Project Mew. In terms of ongoing plot threads, I think that this will be what I'll be most excited about going forward. It's genuinely so intriguing, and as mentioned, it gives Go a little more direction in trying to reach Mew. This is so exciting, and I couldn't have asked for a better episode to introduce this.